Just to the right of the gable of the Jewson's building is this willow tree, which stands above a right angle right bend in the course of the Wide Marsh Brook that leads it down to the end of Canal Road by the entrance to Jewson's. So the brook runs along one side of Jewson's yard. Have to make quite a detour to get back to the brook. Here's the transport hub with the railway station, student accommodation in the distance, and next to Jewson's, the sorting office for Royal Mail. At the end of the sorting office, we make a right towards Morrison's. Skirting round the side of Morrison's is a very useful little cycleway that leads us to the entrance to Jewson's at the bottom of Canal Road. Here we are approaching Canal Road. Entrance to Jewson's on the right there. We turn left. Sign to Fishwick Auto Services, turn right. And before you get to Fishwick Auto Services, we come across this new concrete culvert. I've just spooked a load of fish that were basking in the sunshine here. And this takes the Wide Marsh Brook into this entrance and then travels underneath Morrison's supermarket and emerges on the other side as the Ine Brook. This culvert has had a lot of work done on it in recent years, but I understand it was complex and involved divers improving the flow of water through this culvert under Morrison's. We now cycle up Canal Road towards Commercial Road, but just before the John Venn Park we make a left, private road, which leads us to an alleyway along the side of Morrison's that is in turn on the site of a whole load of industrial archaeology, including Monkmoor Mill. We've now emerged in Morrison's car park and we need to carefully negotiate that and bear right to come out opposite KFC. Here we are opposite KFC. If I swing the camera left, there's a small brick bridge which is where the Ine Brook emerges. Here's the bottom of Aylstone Hill. Here's the bridge parapet, and down beneath it is the Ine Brook emerging from beneath the culvert, beneath Morrison's, and heading off down towards the hospital car park. I'm going to go down over the entrance to KFC and turn left into the hospital car park. I'm now standing in the hospital grounds, right next to the helicopter landing pad. I'm standing on a bridge over the brook. Flowing towards me from KFC at this point, this is the Ine Brook, and then locked gates giving access to the railway line. From the helicopter landing pad, I'm going to make my way across towards Union Walk and then follow that down to where it emerges via steps right beside the railway bridge over Ledbury Road, where we'll pick up the trail again. While I'm following the western side of the hospital site, the brook is over on the eastern side, running alongside and passing underneath the railway bridge to enter Rockfield Allotments, which is what I've just shown you. Thanks to a lot of work by David Fletcher, the site rep for Rockfield, this bit of the brook has been opened up and has this nice characteristic large gravelly stony bed, and is a good little section of the brook, which carries on, leaving the allotment site with Mill Court on the right. Mill Court being named after Scott's Mill, which we're going to see shortly. Having descended the steps from Union Walk, turn left on Ledbury Road under the railway bridge, and that brings us up here to Scott's Mill, where the sign on the end of the buildings has been repainted. Having passed the frontage of the Texaco garage, we arrive at a line of willows which mark the position of the brook, which passes beneath Ledbury Road under this bridge here, leaning over the parapet. There's the Iron Brook. Across Ledbury Road we've got Meadowbank Close and an interpretation board. The path we follow is to the left of the first house along the grassy area, and there's a path that runs on the edge of the brook's floodplain. Should be stressed that this path frequently floods because the Wye backs up along it, and in fact it will back up right as far as that railway bridge between the hospital and Rockfield allotments. So this area is often well and truly underwater, and is technically part of the Wye floodplain as well as the Iron Brook floodplain. But it's a very pleasant little section. Otter spraint has been found on logs along here. At the far end we turn away from the brook right up to meet the Folly Trading Estate. Bottom of Foley Street, which leads on foot into the Foley Trading Estate, and that's the route we follow nearly at the end of the brook now. Some of the units on the Foley Trading Estate do back on to the brook. Between Iron Mill Road and the brook are Iron Mill allotments, and the brook is below the level of the allotments, but a big flood on the Wye will cause backing up, which will actually flood this platform to some depth, even though it's possibly as much as 2 metres above the level of the brook today. A big rise on the Wye can cause flooding on a tongue of land alongside the Iron Brook, right up into the city. I think as far as the hospital has seen it, certainly as far as that railway bridge. Nice little section of brook here. And on the far side is the site of Iron Mill. I'm standing on Sedgefield Road, and if I pan left, we're looking across the site of Iron Mill, which was a large mill. There is an interpretation board nearby, which we'll have a brief look at, and it was located here on this piece of land that floods. Presumably Sedgefield Road gets its name from this field. The brook is in the centre of the image and follows a line of trees down towards Iron Road. Here's Iron Road. Bridge parapet just down there with my bicycle. That's the upstream side of the bridge. Swing across, there's the interpretation board and the downstream side of the bridge. Continue swinging round. There's Brookfield Veterinary Practice, which is on the site of the Whalebone Inn. There are photographs of it in the archives. Here's the interpretation panel by the downstream bridge parapet, close to Quay Close, and through the willow trees, dense though they are, there are faint glimmers in the distance which are the River Wye, because we're only a few metres from the confluence of the Iron Brook with the River Wye, which is the end of this journey.